Hey, everybody, and welcome to John Talks Indian Cinema. I am your Indian Cinemaniac, John, back with another 10-ish-minute review. Before I start, two announcements. One, we're at as of this recording, 91 subs. Trying to get that elusive 100. Those of you that have been sharing and liking and commenting, thank you so much. Greatly appreciated. What I don't understand is, and it's not you guys because you guys do this, but I'm getting like 500, 400 views and like 7 likes and very few comments. So I don't know why that is. People aren't watching long enough, I guess. But I do appreciate it, and it looks like that 100 is going to happen. So thank you for that. I just want to say how much I appreciate that. Second, I got a little pushback on one of the reviews I did because I really didn't I really didn't like the movie, and I understand that, when you watch recommendations, there's a risk, right? When you recommend a film, there's a risk. I know this. There are certain films I love, and you want others to love it like you do. And when they don't, it bothers you. Totally get it. The reality is, doing a review show like this, I got to be honest. Now, I pander. You guys know I pander. I pander a lot. But if I don't enjoy a movie, and believe me, they're few and far between, I got to be honest about it. And it just so happens that some of the movies that you guys recommend are from the late 90s, which is a very different style of film than most of the films I've watched. And that style I'm not nuts about. Now, it doesn't mean I won't watch it. It doesn't mean I won't watch the whole film. But you have to know that going in, that there's a chance I might not like it. Or I don't dislike any movie. I really don't. But you guys have figured out my taste. But I also got to be honest. So if that bothers you, or as a result of me not liking something you recommended, you don't want to subscribe to the channel, I completely understand that. But you got to give me another shot, because who knows, I might surprise you. I watched a movie from the 70s, Cholet, and I had no idea what it was about. And then when it started off, I was like, oh God, what's this going to be? And then I was just blown away by it. So you never know. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so the film that I am reviewing today is recommended by Sandip, Sandip 5588. I think I left a D out before. And the film he recommends is Guru from 2007, directed by Mani Ratnam. It stars Abhishek Bachchan of Dhoom fame, Dhoom Bachale, Amitabh's son. I also have seen him in Pa, Laj Rao, Munabai. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, his wife. Now, a stunning woman, was not glammed up in this film, not compared to some of the other films I've seen her in with those eyes. But I've seen her in quite a bit too. Dhoom 2, Devdas, and Enthiran. Madhavan, who I've seen in a lot. Vikram Vedha, Three Idiots, my favorite Indian film. Shaitan, a very young Madhavan. Vidya Balan, who at first I go, I know I've seen her in something. What have I seen her in? And she was the lead in Kahani, which I loved. She was also in Laj Rao Munabai, and Roshan Seth, who I recognized not from Indian films, but from Gandhi and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, a film a lot of people in your world do not like. So this was, it's funny because a couple of recent films that I've watched, and one of them I haven't reviewed yet, and I've never said this about any of these Indian films that I've watched, should have been a little bit longer. And this is one of those films that, and this film was 2 hours and 46 minutes, but I found things went a little too quick for the thread of the story. But before I begin, this was based on an Indian industrialist, Dhirubhai Ambani, who founded Reliance Industries. He also won the second highest civilian honor, Padma Vibhushan. He died in 2002, and like the character in Guru, was accused of market manipulation, tax evasion, a bunch of other things. So obviously this movie I did a little research on. So the story The story is a tried and true story of a an innocent making his way in the world who, through his perseverance, a little bit of ruthlessness, a single vision of purpose, creates a business empire for the betterment of himself, his employees, and the community. And the story is the journey that he takes, where he starts and where he ends up, and the people that help him achieve his goals and those that are trying to hurt him. And that's basically the story. So as far as the story goes, I'm going to give it a 2 because this is a story you've seen a million times in a bunch of different films. Doesn't take away from it. I'm just saying it's not original, okay? And it's based on a real person. But anyway, that again, that does not take away from it. Now, just to talk a little bit about the film. So Abhishek and Aishwarya got married after this film. I don't know if they're still married. I should probably know that, but I don't. And it opens up it opens up with a black and white song. He's an older man, and it's kind of I don't know if it's black and white or it's more like gray. And there's a song playing in the background about his dreams. And there weren't a ton of big musical numbers in this, but there were some that did advance the story, which I like. Now it flashes back to 1951, and I believe the scenes they showed at the beginning were in the 80s, but it flashes back where you see him with his family. His father's a math teacher. He wants to not finish school and go to Turkey to get a job. So it starts, I mean, like that quick, right? And the father's against it. What are they going to say? A math teacher's son won't finish school, but he goes to Turkey. And that was beautiful. He starts a job in Istanbul. And they set the tone right away who this kid is. There's a game called Three Card Monte that they play in New York City. In this movie, it's the balls, the red balls. And to show how smart it is, he beats it. He beats their rigged game. So right away, he's up a little bit. Okay, then it flashes to her, Ashra's character, um, with a dance number. Oh, excuse me. No, 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 no. This is the belly dancer, I think. Oh dear is the name of the song. Yeah, it's the belly dancer. And it goes right to the opening credits. Now, and by the way, it goes from that three card money game to he's older now in with the belly dancer. That's when that song is playing. So now they cut to his current job where the guy wants to offer him a promotion and more money, but he doesn't want that because he says, why should I work for the white man when I can work for myself? So again, they're setting the tone for who this is. Now, this is the first 20 minutes of the film, 25 minutes of the film. Now you meet Ashaiwa. Oh my God. Say the name right, John. Aishwarya. Her entrance. Now, in these films, the male actors usually get big, huge entrances. In this film, that didn't happen. She got a really big entrance, and she's dancing where the other song was Oh Dear, Oh Dear. This is No Dear, No Dear. She's dancing in a temple and a waterfall, and this is Sujata's entrance. And you find out she's running away from home. Since your country is free now, why can't your daughter be free? So she goes on this train and she ends up meeting Guru. And it's a passing thing. So he goes back home and he gives his father a watch and then tells the father he didn't take the promotion. And now the father doesn't want the watch. So he's independent. And the other thing he does, he ends up, his friend, his best friend, played by Madhavan, who they really didn't introduce. And I wasn't quite sure. That was the one thing about this film. It was difficult to figure out who was related, who was the sister-in-law, who was the brother-in-law, who was the grandfather. It was weird the way they did it. So it was a little hard to follow in that regard. But anyway, he ends up wanting to marry his friend's daughter because he finds out she's got a dowry of 25,000 and he needs money to start his new business to buy into this the market or something, the trade. That was the other thing I found a little confusing. I didn't understand what it is he actually did. Um, and the father agrees to the marriage, but he's going to leave her to start this business. Now they haven't even really spent any time together, really. And he's going to leave, and she says, "Take me with you." He takes her with him. Now they get married. So they do another song, and I'm should be separating the music, so I won't get into that. But there's a scene where he's trying to get in a business with people, and he's always like one step ahead. He's always doing some kind of game. Well, one of them was guys on a golf course. I'm a golfer, you guys know that. And the guy says, if you make this putt, I'll give you this letter that you need to let you into this market, whatever that was. He goes, all I got to do is put that putt in. He goes, yeah. So he picks up the ball, walks over to the hole, and drops it in. And that guy laughs. He goes, hey, you did what I said. So he gives him the letter. Um, so then they show his progression. They show his little factory, then they show the bigger factory, then they the bigger factory. But also, and this is again, this is where this is why I thought the movie could have been longer because they were bouncing around so much. His friend was also on a newspaper that was investigating him and revealing bad things that he was doing. Who ends up marrying, I think, his sister. I'm not 100% sure, but she's got multiple sclerosis in a wheelchair. I don't know. I don't know. Then someone tries to buy him once he starts getting successful, and he gets the press to expose it. So again, his power is building, is building, is building. Um, he ultimately ends up going to. Oh, I'm sorry. He has a stroke, and that lasts for a while. And then he's got to go to court because they got all these charges against him. And the climax of the film is him going to court. He had the stroke. He really hasn't been talking. His wife's been talking for him, and he now stands up in front of this court that's going to convict him. I think it was I can't remember the number. I think it was what was it? He only was charged with two things, but it could have been I don't know what it was. I don't know what the number was. It was a lot though. He gives this impassioned speech that goes on for a long time. And when he's done, the audience starts clapping, and then the committee says we're only gonna charge you on two. So he had to pay a fine as opposed to them taking everything from him. So that was the climax of the film. And then the very climax is they go back to the beginning of the film when he's the old guy, where you only saw him from the back and he's at a cricket stadium. Well, it ends up all his employees are out there. And that was a pretty amazing scene. And there were a couple things like that. Like the look of it, there was a lot of Dutch angles. It was very a very stylized the way it was filmed. And there was a scene like everyone when they were they his employees thought that he was manipulating things and they were screaming at him while he's giving a speech and they're all got umbrellas and it's rainy and gray. That was a really neat scene. Um, but like I said, it got confusing to me the way things were happening. Things happened way too fast. That's why I think it could have been a little bit longer. Now, it wasn't like I it wasn't like I was losing interest in it, but I kept going, well, I don't what just happened? I'm not really understand. His ascension happened really fast. Like he was nothing and then he was everything. And that was kind of tough for me. Now the performances, I enjoyed the performances. I look at Abhishek Bachchan. I don't think he's like a great actor. I just don't. I think he's a good actor. And I think out of all the things I've seen him in, because of the changes that he goes through, even physically, they did some things with him where he got fat too, which is a joke in the film too. I thought he was really good. It's not his fault that his rise of power happened so fast. So you don't really see that metamorphosis. I mean, you see changes in him, even the way they film it. Like I was reading an article about it. Like in the beginning, when he's young and reckless, it's all handheld. and as he gets older, it's more stationary. So the director made a conscious choice of how he was going to film it. So I appreciated that, and I thought, Aishwarya, who played. Wait a minute, I wrote down the names here. Where the heck did I put it? She played Sujata. She was good. She was good, but I've seen her better. I mean, I think the people around him were good. His friends, his longtime friends, the people that were going after him. Madhavan was good, but again, I didn't quite. And maybe I missed something, but I didn't quite understand his motivation, why he was out for Guru, because Guru was helping a lot of people in the community, giving them jobs, giving them stock in the company, so they were making money too. So the performances, I'll give him a 3. I'll give him a 3. Solid, not like great, but pretty solid. Now the music, there was a lot of music in this film. But unlike other films where I'm like, well, I don't get it. Why are they doing that? They made more sense in this film than I've seen in some other ones. Like the "Oh Dear," "No Dear," then the love song when they're on the train. There's a 5th song where he survives the market closing and it opens up again. And the 6th song is really where they show his ascension. And in the highlight of it, he drives up in a Mercedes. And then when they break up, there's a love song, "Oh Dear, Living Without You," the dance at the temple. And then the 8th song was after his twins are born, and it's "Buy One, Get One Free." I thought that was pretty funny. And the theme song is based. Oh no, this was an original one. So so I like the music. It was a 3 for me. Nothing stood out for me. I wasn't humming the songs afterwards. So overall, my verdict overall, I guess I'd give this a solid 3. It was a little bit confusing. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not saying it ruined the film for me, but I needed to see a little more about why things happened. I didn't quite get the whole market manipulation and the trading and what they were actually doing. I got some of the corruption things, but it was a little tough to follow. And maybe that's because I'm reading subtitles versus listening to their dialogue. That could be what it was. But overall, I enjoyed this film, and it was, it was one of his better performances, I think. And again, because it's based on a real person who is revered in India, that was another little nugget that I find out later on that I'm always happy to do. So, Sand Dip, that's my review of Guru. I hope you'll stick with me now. Okay, so that's it. So, once again, you guys, 100. I'm shooting for that 100. We're getting close. So, you know what that means. Subscribe, hit the notification button, hit the like button, and share it. Share it, okay? And one more thing. Again, I said this at the beginning. You got to like it. You got to leave a comment, even if you watch a minute of it. Do that for me, will you? It's a crazy thing that YouTube does, but it is what they do, and I got to go with those parameters, okay? All right, guys, that's it. We'll talk to you soon with another 10ish-minute review on John Talks Indian Cinema. Thanks for watching, everybody.
हर दिल की अपनी ताल है, अपना ही एक राग है। हर दिल की अपनी धड़कने, अपनी ही एक आग है। जज्बात पिघले पिघले